What if everything you believe about yourself is just a memory, repeated so often, it became your truth? Every morning your mind tries to remind you of who you've been, the mistakes you made, the chances you missed, the things you said, the moments you wish you could take back. And if you're not careful, you'll carry that weight into a brand new day. You'll step into the morning, already feeling behind, already feeling unworthy, already feeling like you're living inside a story that someone else wrote for you. But here's the truth. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your regrets. You are not the person who couldn't handle it. You are not the version of yourself who gave up. That was yesterday. That was another lifetime. Your past only has power if you keep giving it a voice. And the longer you let it speak, the longer you stay stuck. Stuck in loops, stuck in guilt, stuck in stories that don't reflect who you're becoming. But you don't have to live like that anymore. You have the right and the responsibility to break that cycle, to stand in front of the mirror and say, that version of me no longer leads this life. Because every time you remind yourself of who you used to be, you bury the person you're trying to become. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to let go. You are allowed to forgive yourself for not knowing better, for falling short, for taking so long to wake up. That's not weakness. That's courage. That's growth. That's strength most people never find, because most people never look, but you're different. You're here because a part of you knows there's more. A part of you refuses to settle for who you were. A part of you is done carrying shame like it's your shadow. The past can't be changed, but your relationship with it can. You can choose to see it as your teacher, not your judge. You can choose to see your scars as symbols of survival, not shame. You can choose to stand in the present and say, this is where I begin. Not yesterday, not last year, here, now. Because when you finally let go of who you were, you make room for who you could be. That's the emotional reward. That's the power. That's the freedom you've been searching for. And it starts the moment you stop rehearsing your pain and start reclaiming your peace. Your story isn't over. It's being rewritten. And this morning, you get to hold the pen. So tell yourself, right now, I am not my past. I am not broken. I am not less. I am not too late. I am becoming something stronger, something wiser, something new. And if you keep watching, if you stay with this, by the end of this video, that voice inside you will sound different. Not quieter, not softer, but braver. And that could change everything. If today truly is a clean slate, then who are you choosing to be? Most people wake up and immediately step back into the identity they wore yesterday. Same habits, same fears, same doubts. They don't even question it. They just put it back on like a uniform. But you don't have to live like that. You don't have to keep repeating a version of yourself that no longer reflects your truth. You're not obligated to be who you were, not even 5 minutes ago. You can evolve, right now. Because every sunrise is a quiet invitation to begin again. Today is not just another square on a calendar. It's not just another checkpoint between one obligation and the next. Today is life, and that means it's sacred. It's a moment that will never return, a breath you will never take again. So the question is, will you sleepwalk through it, or will you rise and meet it fully awake? Will you let the patterns of yesterday steal your energy, or will you step into this day like it was made for you? You don't need permission to start over. You don't need validation to become someone new. And you don't need a guarantee that it will work out. All you need is to decide, deeply, clearly, fully, that this day matters, that your life matters, that how you show up today, even in the smallest ways, creates a ripple that shapes everything. You may not control what happens around you, but you do control the energy you bring to it. And that's where your power lives, not in what the world gives you, but in what you bring to the world. Don't underestimate the power of one decision, one shift in thought, one moment of stillness before the noise begins. Remind yourself that you are not here to survive the day. You are here to create it, to shape it with intention, to move through it with presence, focus, and courage. That doesn't mean everything will go perfectly. It means you'll meet the imperfection without collapsing. You'll meet stress without surrender. You'll meet doubt without backing down. Because you've already decided this is your life, and this day is not random. It's not meaningless. It's yours to own. There's no rewind button on time, and most people only realize that once it's too late. But you still have time. You have this day, right now. So let this morning be the first moment of your new life, a life not built on old stories, but on conscious choices, a life not shaped by fear, but by presence. Tell yourself, out loud if you have to, today is my life, and I will treat it like a gift, not a burden. Because the truth is, You don't get to live this day again, so don't waste it hiding. Don't waste it doubting. Breathe deep. Stand tall. This is your moment. Don't miss it. If this day belongs to you, then so does your response to everything it brings. You will be tested, not by grand events, but by the little moments, the delay, the interruption, the unexpected comment, the plan that doesn't go the way you hoped. That's where most people lose themselves, not in disasters, but in distractions. They let emotions take the wheel. They react instead of respond. They let the mood of the moment decide the direction of the day. But you are not most people. You are not here to be controlled by circumstance. You are here to lead your inner world. Because the one thing that belongs to you, always, is your response. No matter what happens, you have a choice. You can let pressure tighten your chest, or you can breathe through it. You can let anger flood your system, or you can rise above it. You can fall into the pattern of reacting on impulse, or you can pause and reclaim your power. Every time you choose patience over panic, clarity over chaos, and strength over spite, you train your nervous system to follow you, not the other way around. You are not weak for feeling. You are not broken for struggling. You are human. And being human means learning how to manage your emotions without becoming them. It means choosing growth even when it hurts. It means understanding that power doesn't always look like noise. Sometimes power is the silence between reaction and decision. That space where you remember who you are and what you stand for. Today will give you opportunities to react like you used to shrink, to snap, to spiral. But you're not that version of yourself anymore. You've come too far. You've worked too hard. And every time you choose to stay grounded, even when it would be easier to explode, you become someone stronger, someone steadier, someone unstoppable. There is power in restraint. There is power in peace. There is power in saying, I don't need to match the chaos. I am the calm. Because when you stop giving your power away to every inconvenience, you start building a life that reflects your control, not your triggers. That's what separates the reactive from the resilient. Not perfection, but intention. You don't need to control the world, just yourself, just this moment, just this breath. And if you can do that even once, you're already winning. You're already creating space between who you were and who you're becoming. That space is your freedom. That space is where transformation happens. One pause, one breath, one powerful choice at a time. So say it now, and mean it. I control how I respond. My peace is mine. My energy is mine. And no one can take it unless I hand it over. Hold that truth like armor. Carry it through the day. Let it shape how you walk, how you speak, and how you live. You are in control now. Don't forget it. You don't need to earn your worth. You already have it. The world will try to convince you that you have to prove yourself through your performance, your appearance, your achievements, that if you're not constantly doing more, being more, fixing more, then you're somehow falling behind. But that's a lie. You don't need to hustle for permission to exist. You don't need to chase validation like it's oxygen. You are already enough, simply because you're here. You belong, not because of what you've done, but because you are alive. Right now, breathing, existing. That's enough. It's easy to forget that when you're surrounded by noise. People pretending, performing, competing. But your value isn't a scoreboard. It's not a comparison. It's not measured by applause or attention. It lives within you. It has always been there. And it doesn't rise or fall based on who notices you or who doesn't. The moment you stop outsourcing your self-worth, you step into a different kind of power. A quiet power. The kind that can't be taken away, because it isn't borrowed. You don't need to prove that you matter. You already do. You don't need to explain why you deserve to take up space. You already do. And the more you remind yourself of that, the less you'll settle for environments, people, or habits that make you feel small. The more you'll raise your standards, not out of ego, but out of respect for the life you've been given. When you know your worth, you stop negotiating with anything that drains it. This is where confidence begins, not in arrogance, but in acceptance. Not in pretending to have it all together, but in standing in your truth without needing it to be perfect. It's saying, I am enough, even when the world hasn't clapped yet. It's saying, I matter, even when you're overlooked. Because true confidence isn't loud. It's steady. It's the quiet voice that doesn't flinch when things go silent. There's nothing more powerful than a person who knows they belong. Not because they've been told, but because they've decided. And you can decide that now. You don't have to wait for another achievement to feel worthy. You don't have to wait for the next level, the next compliment, the next breakthrough. You are not a project to be fixed. You are a life to be lived, fully. So remind yourself, with conviction, I deserve to be here. I don't have to earn my place. I don't have to shrink to be accepted. I am whole. I am worthy. I am enough. Say it until it feels like truth. Say it until it sinks into your bones. Because the more you live like it's true, the more your life begins to reflect it. And when you truly believe you belong, you stop asking for permission to exist. You simply do. And that changes everything. There's a quiet kind of freedom that comes when you stop chasing results and start honoring your effort. You've been taught to measure yourself by outcomes. The grade, the title, the approval, the number, as if your value rises and falls with every win or loss, as if failure cancels out your effort. But it doesn't. Your growth isn't always visible. It doesn't always come with applause. It often looks like silence, like patience, like discipline when no one is watching. And that matters. What you do behind the scenes, in the shadows, in the in-between, those moments build you. They shape your character. They teach you how to endure, how to lead, how to rise. Even if no one sees it, you feel it. That's where your strength is born. You are not here to chase perfection. You are here to pursue progress. You are here to grow, to learn, to stretch into the person you're meant to become. And that process is messy. It's non-linear. Some days you'll feel like you've taken 10 steps forward, others like you're falling backward. But the direction isn't always visible from the surface, because growth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it looks like showing up tired. Sometimes it looks like trying again when everything in you wants to quit. And sometimes it looks like standing still just long enough to realize you've already come further than you thought. You must stop tying your self-worth to results. The outcome doesn't define the effort. The win doesn't validate the journey. What matters is that you tried. What matters is that you didn't give up, that you stood up when it would have been easier to lie down, that you kept going when everything told you to stop. That's what makes you powerful. Not the trophies, not the proof, but the inner decision to keep building yourself no matter what the scoreboard says. Because when effort becomes your identity, you become unshakable. No failure can define you. No delay can break you. No judgment can reach you. You are grounded in the one thing that no one can take away: your will to try. That's how transformation happens. That's how legends are made. Not in instant success, but in relentless commitment. So tell yourself this, and mean it with your whole being. My effort defines me. Not the outcome, not the praise, not the recognition. I show up because it's who I am, not because of what I get. Say it until it burns into your belief system. Because when you finally stop performing for approval and start honoring your own discipline, you unlock a level of peace that can't be bought. And when the world sees what you've built in silence, they'll call it sudden. But you'll know it wasn't luck. It was effort. Daily, unseen, relentless effort. And that will always be enough. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your invitation. The mind will try to protect you from pain. It will whisper reasons to pull back, slow down, give up. It's not because you're weak. It's because your brain is wired for survival, not greatness. But you weren't born just to survive. You're here to grow, to evolve, to rise beyond what feels easy or safe. And growth never lives inside your comfort zone. It lives where things stretch you, where things challenge you, where things wake you up. The resistance you feel right now, that hesitation, that pressure, that friction, is not a sign to stop. It's a signal that you're entering new territory, that you're moving towards something higher. Discomfort is not punishment. It's preparation. It's the tension required to build strength. The discomfort of discipline, of effort, of change. That's where your future is being formed. You don't become unbreakable by avoiding the weight. You become unbreakable by carrying it until it no longer shakes you. Every time you lean into discomfort instead of running from it, you train your nervous system to trust you. You teach your mind that fear is not fatal. You remind yourself that the pressure will not destroy you. It will forge you. That's what most people never understand. They retreat at the first sign of struggle, not realizing that struggle is how strength is born. They wait for the conditions to be perfect, never realizing that it's the imperfection that creates transformation. The challenge in front of you isn't trying to stop you, it's trying to shape you. It's revealing what still needs healing, what still needs strengthening, what still needs facing. So instead of avoiding it, meet it. Let it stretch you. Let it call out the version of you that's been buried under fear and comfort. You already know what easy feels like, but easy doesn't build resilience. Easy doesn't ignite your potential. Easy doesn't change lives. When you begin to associate discomfort with progress, everything changes. You stop fearing the hard days. You stop resisting the work. You start chasing the stretch. You start craving the challenge, not because you like pain, but because you love who you're becoming through it. You stop seeing discomfort as a wall and start using it as a doorway. And every time you walk through it, you expand, you grow, you become. So remind yourself every single morning, discomfort is growth in disguise. I welcome it. I rise through it. I am not afraid of the work. Let those words guide you. Let them carry you through the doubt, the fatigue, the uncertainty. Because everything you want, every level, every breakthrough, every version of yourself you haven't met yet, it's waiting on the other side of discomfort. And if you're willing to keep walking through it, there is no limit to how far you can go. No one else needs to approve of your dream, not a single person. You don't need applause to begin. You don't need a round of support to rise. You don't need permission to want more for your life than what's been handed to you. Too many people bury their dreams under fear of judgment. They silence their desire because it doesn't fit inside someone else's expectations. They trade their passion for acceptance, their fire for approval. But you were not born to live a life that pleases the crowd. You were born to live a life that awakens your soul. What you feel calling you isn't random. That dream, that vision, that hunger, it's yours for a reason. It doesn't need to make sense to anyone else. It doesn't need to be practical or popular. It needs to be real. It needs to be alive inside you. That's all that matters. Because your dream isn't supposed to make everyone else comfortable. It's supposed to challenge you, stretch you, wake you up to a life you haven't seen yet. You are allowed to dream without defending it. You are allowed to chase something bigger than the life you were told to settle for. You are allowed to want more peace, more freedom, more power, more expression. You are allowed to build a life that doesn't make sense to small minds. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you feel pulled in a direction they don't understand. The dream was given to you, not to them. Don't shrink just to keep others comfortable. Don't downplay your vision to avoid criticism. Don't wait for the world to tell you it's okay to believe in yourself. The world won't always understand your urgency. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. It means you're ahead. You are seeing something they don't see yet. And that's the mark of every builder, every creator, every force of change. Vision that runs ahead of validation. Belief has to come first. That quiet, unshakable knowing that says, I don't need the world to agree. I just need to begin. Let that be your foundation. Let that be your fire. Because the moment you stop asking for permission, you start moving with power. You stop waiting and start building. You stop apologizing and start owning who you are and what you're here to create. So speak it into your mornings. I don't need permission to dream. I don't need approval to grow. I don't need anyone else to believe before I do. Let that become your daily truth. Let it drown out the noise. Let it push you forward even when no one claps. Because you were not put here to fit in. You were put here to break through, to build something original, to lead. And the only permission you'll ever need is already inside you. Your mind is not your enemy, but it can become your prison if you forget who's in control. Thoughts will come, some empowering, some painful, some loud, some quiet, but none of them are facts until you decide they are. The mind is a tool, not a master. Its job is to generate ideas, to alert you, to solve problems. But it is not qualified to define your worth or dictate your destiny. If you let every thought become your truth, you'll live in cycles of fear, doubt, and hesitation. You'll start believing the worst things you tell yourself. And that's how dreams die. Not from failure, but from the lies we believe in silence. You are not every thought you think. You are the awareness behind them. You have the power to observe a thought, question it, challenge it, and let it pass without giving it permission to control you. Just because your mind whispers that you're not good enough doesn't mean you have to agree. Just because it echoes an old fear doesn't mean you have to obey. The greatest freedom begins when you realize you don't have to believe everything your mind tells you. You get to choose which thoughts become your identity. You get to decide which ones grow and which ones dissolve. That's the power of awareness, the power of watching your mind instead of becoming it, the power of noticing when a thought is serving you and when it's sabotaging you. This is how you break the loop. Not by fighting your mind, but by leading it, by training it, by choosing your inner dialogue like your future depends on it, because it does. If you want a stronger life, it starts with a stronger mind. Not a mind free of negativity, but a mind that knows how to rise above it, a mind that doesn't panic at discomfort, a mind that stays steady when fear comes knocking. That kind of strength isn't born overnight. It's built, thought by thought, choice by choice, and it starts with a single powerful decision. I am not at the mercy of my mind. I am its leader. From this moment forward, speak to yourself with clarity, with courage, with authority. Say what you need to hear, not what fear wants you to repeat. Say what lifts you, not what limits you. Because your words are seeds. Plant the ones you want to grow. Your future is being shaped right now by the way you speak to yourself in the quiet moments. So declare it without hesitation. My mind is a tool, not a tyrant. I command my thoughts. I choose my focus. I lead my life. Let that be the new baseline for your day. Not silence, not confusion, not self-attack, but intentional, focused, fearless thought. That's how you stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. And when you take back your mind, you take back your power. You don't have to shrink to be accepted. You don't have to lower your voice, dim your light, or soften your truth just to make others comfortable. You were not created to be small. You were not designed to stay quiet when your soul is asking to expand. Somewhere along the way, you may have learned to minimize yourself, to stay invisible, to not ask for too much, to play it safe. But that version of you was built on survival, not self-respect. And now it's time to grow past it. To remember that your presence is not a burden. Your energy is not too much. Your voice matters. Your needs matter. You matter. Every time you silence your truth, you betray yourself. Every time you hold back your brilliance, you weaken your own foundation. That's not humility. That's self-abandonment. And the world doesn't need a watered-down version of you. It needs the real you, the grounded you, the you that walks in rooms with quiet confidence, not because of ego, but because of alignment. Because you've decided to take up space without apology. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. You don't need to be aggressive to be strong. Power lives in presence, in standing tall when you feel unseen, in speaking truth even when your voice shakes, in staying rooted when everything tries to make you shrink. The more you own who you are, the more your world will begin to shift. Not because you forced it, but because you finally align with the strength you were always meant to carry. If you want to build a life that reflects your true potential, you have to stop disappearing every time discomfort shows up. You have to stop editing yourself to fit environments that were never built for your growth. You are not too much. You are just enough for the life that matches your purpose. So stop trying to be digestible for people who were never meant to understand you. Stop holding back your truth because it might be too loud for someone else's fear. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to live it, to embody it, to walk in it fully and without shame. That means making peace with being misunderstood. That means choosing to stand tall, even when it would feel easier to fold. Because every time you stand up for yourself, even quietly, you reclaim your space in this world. And that space is sacred. That space is earned through courage. Say it out loud if you have to. I am allowed to take up space. I will no longer shrink for comfort. I will no longer hide to be accepted. I was not born to disappear. Let that truth carry you into your day. Let it echo in your body. Let it move through how you speak, how you walk, how you live. Because your presence is not too much. It is exactly what this world needs. You don't have to be the most talented. You just have to be the most consistent. Greatness isn't built on bursts of inspiration. It's built on discipline, on showing up when no one is watching, on doing the work when motivation is gone. Talent may open the door, but consistency is what keeps it open. The truth is, most people quit because they confuse boredom with failure. They expect results too fast. They stop when things get repetitive, when the grind feels dull, when the process loses its shine. But success is not about excitement. It's about endurance. It's about doing what needs to be done, especially when it stops being fun. The life you want is buried under the habits you avoid. And if you want it badly enough, you have to build the systems that keep you going when emotion fades. Because there will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when your mind tells you it's pointless. Days when you want to take the easier path. And those are the days that shape your future the most. Not the easy days, the hard ones. The ones where you choose to show up anyway. The ones where you do the work, quietly and consistently, without applause. The most powerful people you'll ever meet aren't always the loudest. They're the most consistent. They've trained themselves to keep moving forward no matter what they feel, and that's a decision you get to make every single day. Do you want comfort or do you want progress? You can't have both. Comfort will give you momentary relief. Progress will give you transformation, and transformation belongs to the ones who refuse to give up just because it's hard. You don't have to sprint. You don't have to do everything at once, but you do have to keep going. Even if it's one small step, one action, one choice that keeps the momentum alive. That's how growth works, not in dramatic leaps, but in quiet repetition, over and over until the habits become identity, until the effort becomes who you are, not just what you do. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop chasing motivation. It's not about feeling inspired. It's about being committed. It's about deciding that no matter how you feel today, your future is still worth fighting for, even on the ordinary days, especially on the ordinary days, because that's where the real work happens. Say it clearly to yourself. Consistency beats talent. I am not here to be perfect. I am here to be disciplined. Let that be your mindset. Let that be your rhythm. Let it guide every decision you make from this moment forward, not for the applause, not for the recognition, but for the strength it builds, for the freedom it creates, for the life it unlocks. Because if you're consistent, you become unstoppable. And no talent in the world can compete with someone who refuses to quit. Nothing in your life will change until you do. You can wait for the perfect timing, the perfect circumstances, the perfect opportunity, but none of that matters if you keep showing up as the same version of yourself. If your habits don't change, your outcomes won't either. If your mindset stays the same, so will your life. Change isn't something that happens to you. Change is something you become. It's a decision you make, not once, but every single day. To stop living on repeat. To stop letting your past dictate your future. To stop settling for less than you're capable of. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to hand you transformation. You have to take it. You have to fight for it. You have to be willing to look at your own patterns and say, I'm done with this. Done with the excuses, done with the stories, done with the waiting. If you want something different, you have to do something different. And that starts by taking full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. Not blame. Responsibility. There's a difference. Blame keeps you stuck. Responsibility sets you free. The moment you own everything in your life, even the things you didn't cause, you take your power back. You stop giving it away to your past, to people, to circumstances. You stop waiting for permission to change and start creating it. That's the first real step forward, not a massive leap. Just one bold moment of truth. I am the problem, and I am the solution. That kind of honesty is rare. Most people run from it. But if you're willing to face it, everything changes. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what am I going to do about it? You stop looking for shortcuts and start building strength. You stop blaming and start becoming. Because you can't rise while clinging to the version of you that keeps falling. And yes, it's hard. Change is uncomfortable. Growth is messy. But staying the same costs even more. It costs your peace, your purpose, your potential. So ask yourself, what are you willing to let go of to become who you're meant to be? What part of you has to end for the next chapter to begin? Say it to yourself with unshakable conviction. Nothing changes if I don't change. My future depends on what I choose today. Let that truth hit you. Let it ignite something. Because you don't need a better plan. You need a better level of commitment. You don't need more time. You need more urgency. You don't need motivation. You need movement. This is your turning point. Right here, right now. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, step out of the pattern. Step into the power. And don't look back. Because the life you're dreaming of is already waiting. But it will only meet the version of you that's finally ready to rise. You don't need to feel ready. You need to begin. Readiness is a myth disguised as logic. It whispers that you should wait until everything is certain, until the fear fades, until the doubt disappears. But fear doesn't leave on its own. Doubt doesn't dissolve with time. They only loosen their grip when you take action in spite of them. Progress isn't born from comfort, it's born from courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward while carrying it. Every morning remind yourself, hesitation is the enemy. Not because it's wrong to pause, but because prolonged hesitation turns into self-sabotage. When you wait too long, you let your mind build walls where there should be doors. You convince yourself that now isn't the time. But time doesn't wait, and neither should you. Your purpose isn't found in contemplation. It's revealed through motion. You find clarity by doing, not by overthinking. You don't grow by staying still. You grow by leaning into resistance and showing yourself what you're made of. There will never be a perfect moment to change your life. There will only be moments where you decide that the cost of staying the same is greater than the fear of stepping forward. And that moment can be now. Because you've waited long enough. You've questioned yourself long enough. You've sat with your potential like it's a distant dream when it's actually within reach. But it's only reachable when you stop waiting to feel ready and start acting like you already are. The truth is, you're not starting from zero. You've survived things that were meant to break you. You've gotten back up after every fall. You've made it through days when giving up felt easier. That strength, that resilience, is proof that you already have what it takes. The fear you feel doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care. It means the step you're about to take matters. Let that fear sharpen your focus, not shrink your will. Let it remind you that anything worth doing will stir your soul before it lifts you. You don't need certainty to start. You need faith in your ability to figure it out, to learn as you go, to adapt, to fall and get back up. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates change. It won't be perfect. It won't always be smooth. But perfection is not your goal. Progress is. Movement is. Growth is. You're not here to wait. You're here to evolve. So tell yourself the truth each morning. I don't need to feel ready. I only need to take the first step. Let that be your foundation. Let that be your fire. Because the life you want won't wait for you to feel comfortable. It's waiting for you to be bold, waiting for you to rise, and the moment you move, the universe moves with you. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes, your failures, or the pain you've carried. You are the decision you make right now. Too often, you let your identity be shaped by things you wish you could forget, moments of weakness, bad choices, broken trust, or times you fell short. But those moments do not define your worth. They are chapters, not your story. The real you is not found in what happened behind you, but in what you choose to become. Every day is a clean page, and this moment, this breath, is an opportunity to write something new. Regret will try to follow you. It will whisper that you're too late, too damaged, too far gone. Don't believe it. Regret is a liar that feeds on your fear of starting again. But you are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are right on time. The fact that you're still here, still reaching, still wanting something better, that's not weakness. That's your power. That's the part of you that hasn't given up. And that part, that spark, is all you need. Everything can grow from that. The weight you carry is not meant to be permanent. Shame is heavy, guilt is draining. But freedom begins with forgiveness, especially the kind you give yourself. Stop punishing yourself for what you didn't know, who you weren't, or what you couldn't handle. You were surviving. You were learning. You were doing the best you could with what you had. And now you know better. So now you can choose better. But it starts with giving yourself permission to move forward without dragging the past like chains around your ankles. Every time you get stuck in shame, you shrink your future to fit the limits of your past. But your future deserves more. You deserve more. The most powerful thing you can say to yourself every morning is, I forgive myself. Say it and mean it. Say it until your heart softens. Say it until your mind releases the lies. Because self-forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength. It is the courage to own your humanity without surrendering your hope. It is the decision to rise anyway. You don't need to be perfect to begin again. You just need to be honest. Honest about what you want. Honest about what you've outgrown. Honest about the pain that still lingers and the healing you deserve. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means refusing to let the wounds control your steps. It means giving yourself permission to become more than what hurt you. You don't need anyone's permission to grow. You don't need the past to release you. You need to release yourself. So look in the mirror and say it clearly. I forgive myself. Let it echo louder than the voice of shame. Let it become your morning truth. Because you're not here to stay stuck. You're here to break free. You're here to begin again. Stronger, wiser, and finally, unapologetically you. You owe it to yourself to stop waiting. Stop waiting for the perfect time, the right mood, the approval of others, or the absence of fear. Nothing outside of you will ever align perfectly. The shift must come from within. You are not waiting on the world. You are waiting on the moment you decide that enough is enough, that who you are right now is already enough to begin. Fear will always exist where growth is near, but so will power, so will clarity, so will the quiet voice that says, do it anyway. That voice is your truth. Listen to it. There's a reason you feel the tension between who you are and who you want to become. It's the call of your own potential pulling you forward, demanding that you stop settling for what's comfortable. Growth and comfort never coexist. One must die for the other to live. And the longer you try to balance both, the longer you stay stuck in a life that doesn't fulfill you. Your next level won't come from playing it safe. It will come from making bold choices in the face of uncertainty. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's action in spite of it. No one is coming to unlock the door for you. You have the key. You always have. But you keep looking at the lock like it's impossible, like it's too big, too heavy, too complicated. It's not. The truth is, the door doesn't need to be unlocked. It needs to be kicked down. Your breakthrough doesn't need permission. It needs commitment. Relentless, unreasonable commitment to rise, no matter who doubts you, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you've failed before. You only need one more try to change your life. Stop measuring your potential by your past results. Your history doesn't define your capacity. Just because you haven't done it yet doesn't mean you can't. It just means you haven't stayed long enough in the discomfort. Progress lives in the uncomfortable. Growth lives in the unfamiliar. And everything you dream about, peace, confidence, fulfillment, it's waiting on the other side of your resistance. Your mind will scream for comfort, but your soul craves expansion. Choose the soul. You were not created to live a life of quiet frustration. You were not designed to blend in, dim down, or shrink to make others comfortable. There is power in your presence, force in your fire, strength in your scars, but it only becomes visible when you decide to own it. No more apologies for wanting more. No more excuses dressed up as reasons. No more waiting for permission to rise. You are the permission. You are the beginning. You are the one who can set it all in motion. This is the moment you stop explaining yourself and start becoming yourself. The moment you stop waiting and start walking. Because nothing changes until you move. And once you move, the entire universe moves with you. Your power doesn't need to be found. It needs to be unleashed. It's not buried beneath years of failure. It's hidden beneath years of hesitation. You've been shrinking, second-guessing, and explaining yourself to people who never even deserved access to your energy. Every time you silence your truth to keep the peace, you destroy the fire within. That fire is sacred. It's not meant to keep you warm in comfort. It's meant to burn away every excuse, every lie, every limitation you've adopted as your identity. You don't need fixing. You need remembering. You need to remember who you were before fear taught you how to forget. The version of you that's waiting to emerge isn't a fantasy. It's not a dream. It's your reality. If you're willing to pay the price, and that price is everything that's holding you back, your comfort zone, your patterns, your excuses, your need to be understood by people who were never built to walk your path. Let them go. Let the old you fall apart. Let the fear shake. Let the doubt scream, and then do it anyway. You won't always feel ready. You won't always feel confident. But those emotions don't get to vote on your destiny. Your actions do. There's a level of peace you've never known, and it's found on the other side of radical self-respect. That means walking away when you're disrespected. That means standing tall when you're misunderstood. That means trusting your inner voice more than the noise of the world. You are not too much. You are not too intense. You are not too driven. You are exactly as you were meant to be, and the more you honor that, the more your life begins to shift. Not because the world changes, but because you finally stop betraying yourself for acceptance. People will misunderstand your growth. They will mislabel your silence. They will challenge your elevation. Let them. Your job is not to be digestible. Your job is to be undeniable. To walk so deeply in your truth that nothing can shake you. Because when your foundation is built on self-trust, no rejection can break you. No delay can define you. No failure can stop you. You become immovable, not because life is easy, but because you've decided that nothing is worth abandoning your power for. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are not late. You are rising. You are healing. You are evolving. And it's happening faster than you can see. Every moment you choose to keep going, even when no one sees it, even when you feel nothing changing, you are rewriting the code of your reality. Your consistency is the magic. Your discipline is the transformation. Your mindset is the doorway. And your next level isn't found in more knowledge. It's found in more alignment. Align your words with your actions. Align your actions with your purpose. And watch the world rearrange itself to match your frequency. You are ready. Now rise. No one is coming to save you, because no one is supposed to. That power has always been yours. Waiting for someone else to pull you out of your darkness is the surest way to stay buried. You weren't built to be rescued. You were built to rise. Every setback, every heartbreak, every quiet night where you questioned your worth was preparing you to meet the version of yourself that doesn't run, doesn't beg, and doesn't break. You weren't meant to survive by shrinking. You were meant to rise by deciding. Decide to stop waiting. Decide to stop explaining. Decide to stop needing validation to breathe freely. You don't need permission to grow. You only need the courage to let go. It takes a different kind of strength to walk away from the life that once felt safe but now feels suffocating. It takes a warrior's mindset to wake up each day and choose self-respect over comfort, growth over approval, purpose over popularity. Most people won't understand that kind of hunger, because they've spent their lives feeding fear and calling it peace. But not you. You've tasted what it's like to stay silent in rooms where your soul was screaming, and you've finally reached the point where silence costs more than truth. That's the threshold where transformation begins. When the pain of staying small outweighs the fear of becoming powerful, everything shifts. You don't need more time. You need more honesty. You need to stop lying to yourself about what you're tolerating. Stop pretending that your boundaries are flexible. Stop masking your fatigue with fake smiles. The world doesn't need your performance, it needs your authenticity. That is your power. That is your message. And when you start living from that place, you don't chase anything. You attract everything. Not because you're lucky, but because you've become aligned with who you really are. People feel that. The right ones find you, the wrong ones fall away. And you finally realize you were never being rejected. You were being redirected back to yourself. You are not here to be average. You are not here to be agreeable. You are here to disrupt every limitation placed on your name. That requires discipline. That requires sacrifice. That requires walking alone until you're walking with people who see your soul. Don't fear the loneliness. Fear becoming a watered-down version of yourself just to fit into places that were never built to hold your magnitude. You are not intense. You are awake. You are not too much. You are just in rooms too small. And you don't owe anyone an apology for outgrowing their expectations. You only owe yourself the truth. So speak it, live it, breathe it, and never settle again. You are no longer available for mediocrity. You are no longer accessible to people who drain your light. From this moment forward, you move with clarity, you move with intention, and you move like someone who finally remembers who they are. You are not becoming. You already are. Growth begins the moment you stop negotiating your worth. The second you decide to stop convincing people to value you, everything inside you changes. Your energy shifts, your standards rise, your tolerance for anything misaligned evaporates. You no longer beg to be understood, to be chosen, to be kept. You understand that peace is not found in being liked, but in being real. You no longer sacrifice your voice for the comfort of others. You no longer shrink to make others feel tall, because your soul is done living in the margins of someone else's comfort zone. You've walked through fire, and now you've learned how to burn away everything false. When you start walking in your truth, it's not about who claps. It's about who stays silent, who disappears when you stop being easy to control, who withdraws when you stop living for their approval. That silence speaks louder than applause ever could, because when you begin to honor yourself, you trigger the insecurity in those still hiding. Your light reveals their shadows, and that's not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for the comfort of those who benefit from your silence. Your only responsibility is to your own evolution. Every time you choose yourself, you teach your subconscious that you matter, that your needs are not a burden, that your boundaries are not optional, that your dreams are not up for debate. The more you choose yourself, the more unstoppable you become, because clarity kills confusion. And when you're clear on who you are, you stop explaining, you stop overthinking, you stop waiting for someone to give you permission to live boldly. You just do it, not to prove anything, but because you've finally remembered who you were before the world told you to forget. And when that shift happens, life starts to mirror your internal alignment. Opportunities that once seemed distant start chasing you. Doors that were sealed shut begin to open. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You stopped making excuses for staying small. You stopped making room for people who refuse to grow. You stopped lowering your frequency to feel accepted. Now, you walk in purpose. You speak with intention. You breathe with conviction. You no longer hide your depth just to fit into shallow places. The journey is not about becoming someone else. It's about unbecoming everything that isn't you, stripping away the masks, the fear, the guilt, the self-doubt, reclaiming the fire that's been buried beneath years of pretending, and standing in that fire long enough to remember that you are not fragile. You are forged. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. With every decision to rise, you reinforce a new standard, and that standard becomes your baseline. You no longer settle, you no longer chase, you no longer ask for crumbs. You stand, you build, you lead, you rise. Because you finally know, this life will meet you at the level of your self-respect, and you're done playing small. Real transformation begins when you stop abandoning yourself to keep others comfortable. When you stop apologizing for your intensity, your passion, your standards. When you stop diluting your power to blend into places that never deserved your presence in the first place. You are not here to be palatable. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to embody truth so deeply that even your silence speaks volumes. Every moment you choose alignment over approval, you cut ties with the version of you that once settled for less than you deserved. You do not need validation to become powerful. You do not need acceptance to become free. The moment you stop seeking permission, the chains fall off. Because most of what holds people back isn't the world outside them. It's the voice inside telling them to wait, to be careful, to play safe, to avoid judgment. But safety is an illusion when your soul is suffocating. Playing small does not protect you from pain, it guarantees regret, and regret is far heavier than failure. You were never created to live numb. You were created to feel deeply, love fiercely, rise relentlessly, and become unshakably whole. There comes a time when your desire for peace outweighs your tolerance for chaos. When your craving for authenticity silences your fear of rejection. When your need for growth overrides your addiction to comfort. That is the threshold. That is the doorway to your real life. On the other side of it, you are no longer triggered by being misunderstood. You are no longer shaken by being excluded. You are no longer broken by temporary loss. You understand that anything that falls away in the presence of your truth was never meant to remain. That's not tragedy. That's alignment doing its job. The more deeply you anchor into your identity, the more effortlessly the wrong things begin to fall away. Not with noise, not with drama, but with divine clarity. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop over-explaining. Because when you finally trust your own inner knowing, silence becomes your loudest answer. Distance becomes your strongest boundary. Energy becomes your clearest communication. And peace becomes your greatest achievement. Let the world misunderstand you. Let people mislabel your strength as arrogance. Let them call your boundaries cold. That has nothing to do with you. You are not responsible for their projections. You are only responsible for your evolution. You are here to become so deeply rooted in your own truth that no storm can shake you. You are here to rise above the noise, to lead with conviction, to burn through illusion, and to create a life that reflects the depth of your healing. Everything you seek is already within you. The clarity, the strength, the discipline, the courage. You just have to stop betraying yourself to make others feel comfortable. You are not here to blend in. You are here to break patterns, to elevate, to lead, and to become the version of you that no longer waits, because waiting is over. It's time to rise.